You're watching another episode of the Interesting Times podcast right here on the Bek Lover Podcast. We go straight back to Lebanon for another, what seems to be coordinated attack through electronic devices. If I was Lebanese at this point, I wouldn't even go near a toaster, a microwave, even a remote control for my television until you guys figure out exactly what the hell is going on. Many news outlets reporting 14 killed and hundreds injured in latest Lebanon blast. Israel declares new phase of war. And all the signs there of international terrorist attack, because it's obvious that in order to gather such a large amount of equipment, it had to be brought in, crossing several borders. Obviously, there is an international trail in this, and it should be investigated accordingly. Now, the reaction of the West should be indicative. If the West remains silent and, as always, does not insist on an investigation, does not talk about human rights, does not repeat its rhetoric of many years, which they have used in similar cases when terrorist attacks were committed on their territory, then this will be proof of their direct engagement. And this was a statement made by Maria Zakharova on Lebanon blast. U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders has introduced the joint resolutions of disapproval that would block the sale of U.S. weapons to Israel. Here are some of the images coming through the news wires from Lebanon, where the latest walkie-talkie blasts, which Hezbollah and Lebanese government blamed on Israel, have killed 14 people and injured at least 450 others. And those funerals have begun. And at the same time, Lebanon, Hezbollah is promising some type of counterattack for this. Speaking of explosions, there was claims earlier today of explosives around Trump's Long Island rally, and they were unfounded. Reports of explosives at a former President Donald Trump's campaign rally on Long Island are unfounded. This is reported by Pix 11 News in New York. A person with a self-trained bomb-detecting dog near the Nassau Coliseum falsely reported the threat. According to the department, the person was detained for questioning and the threat was determined unfounded. Trump's campaign rally, his first since a second apparent assassination attempt over the weekend, is expected to begin around 7 p.m. Wednesday. Thousands of people are expected to attend. Sean Diddy Combs in court begging to be released on bail. Sean Diddy Combs makes a fresh bid for bail in his trafficking and conspiracy case. Lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs asked the judge Wednesday to let him await his trafficking trial at his luxury home on an island near Miami Beach rather than a grim federal jail in Brooklyn. Combs' lawyers offered a $50 million bail package using his mansion as collateral in exchange for releasing him to home detention with GPS monitoring. A hearing on the request was scheduled for Wednesday afternoon. On Tuesday, a U.S. magistrate judge in Manhattan ordered Combs held without bail, which is very serious. My man's offering $50 million, which means they're not letting him go. They must have something massive on him. And I wonder, what does Diddy know? Who else might be involved? What other bigger fish can he hand in? And will the surveillance cameras work in his jail cell? If I was Diddy, I would start telling people, hey, I don't feel like taking my own life. You know, there was another guy in a similar situation. His name was Epstein. Team Z reports Diddy's life is in danger behind bars. Former MDC Brooklyn warden claims Diddy should watch his back in prison because a former warden at the facility he's in says there's a whole lot of inmates who would see killing him as a badge of honor. As you know, Diddy's currently being held in the MDC Brooklyn, a notorious federal detention facility in NYC without bail. Sources with direct knowledge tell us Diddy's being held in the special housing unit away from general population. My God, how things turned around for this guy and his massive empire. Unbelievable. What are your comments? I thought he was already out of the country. Reuters reports, Ghost cybercrime platform dismantled in global operation, 51 arrested. An international law enforcement operation has dismantled an encrypted communication platform known as Ghost, notorious for enabling large-scale drug trafficking and money laundering, Europol said on Wednesday. The investigation led to the arrest of 51 suspects from multiple countries, with more arrests expected. Just a news flash to all you shady people out there that are doing things you shouldn't be doing. Pretty much anything you put on your phone, on the internet, email, these apps, like Telegram, like they just arrested the founder. Like, there's nothing safe once you hit send. Even speaking in person, you better be somewhere like The Sopranos with a toothpick in your mouth and your hand over your face and somewhere where it's loud. Because if they want to find out, they're going to find out. That's all I got to say. German woman dies after shark attack near the Canary Islands. A woman has died from a shark attack in the Atlantic Ocean near the Canary Islands, the Spanish archipelago off the northwest coast of Africa. The 31-year-old German national lost a leg in the attack, which took place on Monday. The shark attack took place 319 miles southwest of the Gran Canary, west of the city Dakhla. The woman suffered a heart attack after losing her leg. I went snuba once in Aruba. I went snuba in Aruba, which is like snorkeling and scuba. I have a deep fear of the ocean. I would have the same fear if I was in the safari walking around in Africa. Like, I'm just a fish out of water. And for me, it's just like, you can't pay me enough money to want to go deep diving or any of that stuff. This is an example why. Even when I go to the beach, I don't go past my knees, especially in water that's dark and I can't see. I just don't trust the ocean. It's not my natural habitat. And we are not the apex predator. Apex predator. Yeah, I figured it out. Speaking of more war in the world, Ukraine drone attack hits major Russian arms depot, sparking huge fire and evacuations in Tver region. Powerful explosion picked up by earthquake monitoring systems causes fires to burn across 4 miles in Russian region close to Belarus border. A Ukrainian drone attack, which sparked huge fires, evacuations, and power cuts in Russia, Tver region destroyed an arms depot storing missiles, guided bombs, and artillery ammo. Ukrainian security sources claimed the attack caused an extraordinarily powerful detonation at a Russian Defense Ministry warehouse in the 1,000-year-old town of Toropets, containing Iskander and Tochaka-U tactical missile systems and guided aerial bombs, a source in Ukraine's SBU security service said. The huge blast was registered by earthquake monitoring stations, while NASA satellites picked up several sources of fire emanating from the site, which Russian state media suggested in 2018 was home to a major arsenal for conventional weaponry. There's some pictures of the blast. If you are watching this on YouTube, Spotify, or Rumble, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I do all the homework for you. Speaking of Russia, the U.S. deploys soldiers' rocket systems to Alaska Island as Russian military activity ramps up in the region. The U.S. military has moved about 130 soldiers along with mobile rocket launchers to a desolate island in the Aleutian chain of western Alaska amid a recent increase in Russian military planes and vessels approaching the American territory. 8 Russian military planes and 4 Navy vessels, including 2 submarines, have come close to Alaska in the past week as Russia and China conducted joint military drills. None of the planes breached U.S. airspace, and a Pentagon spokesperson said Tuesday there was no cause for alarm. Don't be alarmed. We're only sending billions and billions of dollars to the country that Russia's fighting with and blowing up their infrastructure like the last story I told you. They're not going to hit us, They're not going to hit us. We're not going to go to war with Russia. You better hope not, because I promise they're going to draft your kids. Suspicious packages sent to election offices in 16 U.S. states as threats mount. This is reported by The Guardian. FBI and U.S. Postal Service launched joint investigation into parcels, some containing white powder found to be flour. Election offices in Alaska, Hawaii, Idaho, Kansas, Nebraska, Tennessee, Wyoming, Oklahoma, Georgia, Missouri, Mississippi, Massachusetts, Indiana, Rhode Island, Maryland, Colorado, and Connecticut all confirmed receiving suspect mail, triggering a joint investigation by the FBI and the United States Postal Service. In one case, a package from a sender purporting to be the United States Elimination Army and marked with return address in Maryland was sent to officials in Nebraska election divisions, according to the Washington Post. My friends, we are very close to this election. It is chaotic out there. All hell's breaking loose. But hey, gas prices dropped somehow with all this chaos. How is it that gas prices have dropped dramatically here? Because they do it every time right before it's time to vote for the next president. It's not because things are doing better. It gives the illusion. And you'll have a temporary decrease in the cost of goods. And it'll be like, oh, things are getting better. No, they're not, friends. Don't be fooled. Pay attention. Speaking of not needing gas, GM electric vehicles can finally access Tesla superchargers. I think this is a brilliant move by GM to tap into Tesla's already built infrastructure. People who drive electric Chevys, Cadillacs, and GMCs will now be able to plug in at Tesla's chargers using adapters, but they'll have to pay for them. Tesla's adapters through each brand's smartphone app for $225. The announcement comes more than 15 months after GM's first announced it would adapt Tesla's EV charging plug for its vehicles. I think that's a smart move, but I'm still sticking with gas until there's no more gas to put in them. I don't trust electric vehicles and the control that comes with them. Dock workers at key U.S. ports threatening strike consumers could feel. Determined to thwart the automating of their jobs, about 45,000 dock workers along the U.S. and East and Gulf's coast. I'm like really slow today. I don't know what's wrong with me. Basically, 45,000 dock workers. I can't talk today, man. This is funny. Drop a comment if I sound like an idiot. 45,000 dock workers across the country are threatening to strike on October 1st, a move that would shut down ports that handle about half the nation's cargo from ships. Let me tell you something. If this happens on October 1st, and we don't have all these goods coming in because we import everything because our entire economy was exported and sold and we were betrayed by the people that run the government and these corporations, we are going to have a massive chaotic spike in goods and shortages and God knows what else literally a month before the election. And the way things are going right now around the world with all kinds of chaos, I would have to say this is probably going to happen. But I'm pretty sure the left is going to do whatever they can to stop that from happening because it would be catastrophic to Harris's campaign. And the last piece here for you guys to know. You could be breathing in microplastics that enter your brain. New research reveals, Euronews.com. New research has revealed that plastic from everyday items has the ability to infiltrate the brain. No wonder so many people are stupid. It makes sense now. I was wondering, I thought maybe it was because of this, what they put in themselves or too much internet. I guess it's plastic's fault why so many people are just honestly stupid. Their demands come following the release of a new report which has shown that indoor environments could be a major source of microplastic pollution. In short, it means that the plastic particles are easily inhaled and can quickly enter the brain. So, that's all, folks. Make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you remember that I will do all the homework for you. Check out all my other content. Follow on X and Instagram. This is your boy Bek Lover, and you're watching another episode of the Interesting Times podcast right here on the Bek Lover Podcast.
Bek Lover.